Okay, there we go. Now we're going to start the meet recording. Good afternoon on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. We are here to discuss some Blue Jays. And we are joined here, and I guess who better week to discuss that with the play-by-play voice of the Blue Jays on the audio side, and I believe some TV as well this past year, Ben Shulman. Ben, thank you so much for taking some time to join me yet again. It's been a couple of years, I think, since we've done a show together.
Yeah, at least a year, I would think. But thank you for having me. Happy to be back on.
Yeah, so let's start with the overall. Let's start with the overall the season overall. It was sort of a season where, in my opinion, anyway, that the Jays were, especially if you look at the way it kind of started, that it seemed as though that it was kind of going to be a long sort of year, and where really they weren't didn't look like it was going to be a push that they were going to make.
Yeah, it really, I think came into the year coming off of 2024. There were not a ton of expectations, and whether it was injuries or guys starting slow for the first month and a half, probably they were kind of win one, lose one, even lost a couple more games than they had won through about a month and a half. And it didn't start to shift, I would say, probably until about late May was when things at least started to come together a little bit. Still, you would have never guessed World Series or Game 7 of the World Series, but that's at least when it started to look like maybe they were a pretty good baseball team.
And the thing was that that added to it. It was guys at the bottom of the lineup that were contributing, and it was folks and I mean guys like Addison Barger, Ernie Clement, and even Shane Bieber, which was sort of their main acquisition there at the trade deadline. Really, I was kind of sitting there going, Shane Bieber?
Yeah, in terms of bottom of the lineup, like you're talking about, I definitely think that's part of what made the team so popular. Was it really was kind of anyone on the roster, full team effort. It could have been Vlad one day, but it could have been Nathan Lucas or Ernie Clement or Miles Straw or whoever it might have, or Tyler Heineman winning them a game, or even guys who didn't end up on the playoff roster that helped win them games throughout the year. And it really was a full team effort. I don't think they get even close to where they ended up going if they didn't have every single guy really being a big factor in them winning games this year.
Yeah, and those two slipped my head there. Tyler Heineman and Nathan Lucas.
Oh, hey, baby, there's so many different guys, really, and there's even 5 or 6 more I could probably mention.
Yeah, I think and I think too where it. I mean, Shane Bieber was one of their I think he did what he was able to do. I mean, he, of course, keeping in mind he just came off of recently. He recently came off of Tommy John recently, so I think the fact that he was able to contribute in one way was, I think, pretty special for the team.
Absolutely. They don't win the division without trading for him in the middle of the year. He as he was still trying to round into form and get back to what he was before the injury. He won a lot of games for them, pitched a lot of really big games down the stretch, and then in the playoffs, won some huge games for them. He won Game 3 in Seattle after they had gone down 2-0 in the championship series. If they don't win that game, they're done. Their season's pretty much over. Big outing in Game 4 in Los Angeles as well after the Jays lost the 18th inning Game 3. He comes out and pitched well in Game 4 and helped them stabilize that series too. So yeah, they're, I'm sure, thrilled to have him back because what he did last year was great, let alone, what he could provide for them going forward.
And I mean, yes, and there is some flexibility as well. I mean, Chris Bassett's kind of coming off a bit. He's coming off their payroll item this year.
Yeah, there's some money. If they don't bring guys back in terms of Bassett and Scherzer was about $35 million expenditure last year. Now they've spent pretty much all of that on Dylan Cease,
Yes.
and retaining Shane Bieber, but they had. Assuming that they still don't end up reuniting with those guys, they had a little flexibility this year and a little flexibility probably coming up next year as well, with the fact some bigger contracts are starting to run out.
Chris, certainly, if they've got Bassett kind of coming off, and and possibly, but what the team I think really needs at this, you see, they got Dylan Cease now, which they needed, which was good because they needed a starting pitcher, but I feel like what this team really needs is bullpen help.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand you feeling that way. I think they made a pretty significant move when they got Tyler Rogers, the submarine sidearm pitcher that was a Giant and a Met last year. He should slot right near the top of their bullpen, but it would not shock me if they went out and tried to get one or two more guys. I think, and probably we'll try and get even more at the deadline coming up this next year too. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you can ever have too many bullpen guys. So I would not be surprised if they continued to go to that well.
Yeah, Max Scherzer was sort of an interesting one too. He did make it clear that that he's retiring at the end. I mean, he did contribute for them in the playoffs, though.
Absolutely, yeah. I was an up and down regular season for him, but his biggest moments came at the biggest times. He had a huge outing in Game 4 of the championship series and pitched some valuable innings for them in the World Series as well. I think. It ends up being definitely a deal they're happy with. It was an interesting way to get to a successful, year of Max Scherzer, but he ended up providing them, I think, with what they wanted, which was some big starts when they needed it and a lot in their clubhouse and behind the scenes as well. So pretty cool, I think, for everyone to look back on going forward. That a Hall of Famer like Max Scherzer was a Blue Jay, pitched for the Blue Jays in the World Series and did all those things. It's pretty crazy, and I think most, if not all, people leave that arrangement with happy memories of Scherzer and the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and before we go any further, I do want to get kind of congratulate. I do want to congratulate Mark Shapiro on that extension, on that 5-year extension with the team. I think, and shout out to him on that piece.
Yeah, very well deserved. I mean, they've done, both in terms of stadium experience and then clearly on the field. It's been a great last couple of years for the Blue Jays. So, very well deserved.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And I mean, John Schneider did a good job as well. I mean, he certainly did a good job as well of keeping really. He was obviously the thing is, it was a really special year, and that. The fact that they made it as far as they did, and they came ever so close to actually winning the World Series, and they had chances in both Game 6 and Game 7.
Yep. No, they did. No, it was an incredible run. And like you mentioned, it was a great year for John Schneider and his entire staff, and really everyone involved. It's incredible. I mean, not only is it amazing how far they got, but so many times during the run to the World Series, it looked like they were, done, especially in the second series, the championship series against Seattle. It looked like a couple times they were probably going to get knocked out, and
Yeah.
and very well could have ended up winning the World Series. It was a great year, I think, from a lot of different people that culminated in such an awesome and, like you said, special kind of season for fans and everyone around the team to watch.
Even Louis Verlin, he's one of those other bottom of the lineup sort of guys that kind of that contributed.
Sure, yeah, you get Louis Varley. He probably wasn't the headline for a lot of people, I think, at the deadline, and now all of a sudden, I think a lot of people are very excited about the fact that the Jays have 3, 4 years, more of Louis Varlin contributing for them at minimum in their bullpen, or in their rotation potentially as well. So yeah, no, he was great. He was a huge part of it. Pitched more than any pitcher has ever thrown in a single playoff run in Major League history. Which is always cool. I think when you end up in the record books one way or another, and pitched well too, wasn't just out there, eating up innings, but was pitching in huge spots pretty much every single game of the postseason. So, yeah, really, really awesome guy to watch, and I think someone that probably still has their best baseball in front of them, if I had to guess, because he's still relatively young in his major league career.
What I think will be interesting is what happens or what with what the future of Bo Bichette is, and I mean he did. I thought it was interesting that he came back for that World Series round. That he did some time. That he did play some games there, but in that round, I mean that's going to be certainly it'll be something that time will tell in that regard.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely what people are watching right now. I think is whether he's coming back to the Blue Jays or not. I think that occupies the minds of most fans. I'm sure a lot, if not all, or the vast majority, do want the Jays to reunite with Bichette, and there hasn't been a lot of word on it. I know as much as anyone else on this right now, which is that I think I think both sides are very much interested in it.
Hmm.
But it's not always that simple, obviously, and it comes down to a lot of money, being exchanged, and I don't know how close or how far apart they are at this point. So I think there's a lot of talking going on, and I think the hope is from both sides to get something done. But it's a big mystery, I think, and something that will have a big impact on all of baseball, whether Bo Bichette comes back or whether he's out there for anyone, because that he'll change a team in a big way if he ends up going somewhere else because he's such a good baseball player.
Yeah, and I think something that people tend to forget, or that the reality is, he's a free agent. He can go. He can do. He can. He can go. He can do kind of what he can test the market, and he can do what he feels. He can go where he wants to go, and whoever's going to give him the most money. And I feel like that's kind of what is forgotten by fans in this sort of situation.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think, at times we forget that it's a job for the people that are doing it as much as it's, an entertainment or something to follow for us. And yeah, he's earned the right. He put in 7 years essentially, with the Blue Jays, and about 10 years with the organization to have this right now to go pick wherever he wanted to go. And he really technically owes nothing to the Blue Jays. I'm sure emotionally that both sides feel closer than that, but yeah, no, he's, like you said, he's earned the right to go take whatever he wants, and if he feels like taking the most money is what's best for him and his family, and that happened to be somewhere else, then that's a respectable decision. That makes a lot of sense, I think, and I think a lot of people would do it too. But maybe the Jays will be the team that offers him the most money, or maybe maybe he just wants to come back regardless. It's an interesting free agent sweepstake to follow.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, it always sort of. I'm not like, you know what, and I'll be honest. Like I'm not a fan of like of all the speculation that you see. I mean, we all kind of know right now just as much as anybody else knows about that situation, right? You know what I mean? So like I think that's, and I realize it's part of being a fan. I realize that, but I think you have to go. One has to sort of go with what is out there and what will be and what's known.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pick who you trust to a certain extent there, but yeah, I could tell you I know as much as anyone else right now, and that's about nothing. So,
Yep. Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see when or if any information comes out. But given how close we are, or are already in the holiday season, I would guess that not a lot will come out for about a week or two at least. As I'm assuming Bo Bichette and his family are likely on a vacation right now.
I agree with you there. Yeah. And see, and also we've got we and the Dylan Cease thing, was it like he certainly brings some power, doesn't he?
Yeah, he brings, I think, a very different element to the Jays rotation that I'm not sure they've had in a long time, to be honest. A true kind of power starting pitcher. I mean, Yusei Kikuchi threw pretty hard, so he would be close to it. But this is a guy that can blow a fastball by you in the mid to upper 90s on a consistent basis. I believe it was around 97 miles per hour on average last year. His fastball, huge slider. On pure stuff alone, about as good as it gets in Major League Baseball, and that's why I think they made such a commitment to him because of what he can potentially do. So yeah, he's got the ability to win a Cy Young award. He's got the ability to be the best pitcher in the Blue Jays rotation next year. It's possible for him to do that, and it's going to be a pretty good rotation. So I think it speaks to his talent and what it possibly could be. I think it's a very exciting kind of move. If you're someone that just watches Blue Jays baseball a lot, because he's an exciting guy to watch pretty much all the time.
Yeah. And yeah. And I mean, certainly, like, this team has certainly it has got, there's a lot still to be excited about. Especially coming off of this past season's run, and and just the excitement of just being the excitement of everything. What was it like being in the building? I mean, in that atmosphere.
For the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it kind of built obviously as the playoffs went on. It got crazier and crazier. But Yankees round one, I mean, people are going to go nuts for that. It's a dream matchup, I think, if you're a Blue Jay fan. And that was crazy. They absolutely destroyed them in the first two games, and that ends up kind of setting the table for people to go absolutely berserk for most of the rest of the postseason. But like huge explosion from the building when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit that grand slam against the Yankees, and then some of the road environments were really cool. New York certainly, and Seattle was a really fun place to be. That was a lot of fun, but it was like almost nothing I've seen. I mean, I was fortunate enough to go to a playoff game as a fan in 2015. So I've seen the closest comparable would be that basically, but it was it was a madhouse. People going crazy, living and dying on big moments, and it's so much fun. Really, kind of what you do this for, I think, to be able to be in and around those venues when the moments are at their biggest, and it didn't disappoint. It was a ton of fun.
Definitely, you know what I mean. Like and it kind of was. It reminded, it did remind me of that time, the 2015, and um, people would remember that bat the Bautista bat flip as well from that time. I think that was
Hmm.
special.
For sure. Oh yeah, the signature moment from that time.
And yeah, and you know, and it just um, see for you. See, I think it's even like see for it was something special because see for you and I, this is kind of like the first sort of real experience that you know that we've had, that we're experiencing, that we experienced that they made it, to the World Series. It's kind of the first time in our sort of lifetime that has happened. Like in the '90s, I was a kid.
Yeah, and I wasn't even alive when they made the World Series in '93. So definitely for me, I mean, 15 and 16 were very fun. To me, it never totally felt like in either of those years that they were never in a great spot to be in the World Series. And until you get in it, I feel like it's not realistic feeling that you're going to win it. So definitely for me, this was felt like the first time I actually saw them really contend for a championship. Definitely the most, I mean, clearly the most successful team I've ever seen in my time, either following the Blue Jays as a fan or doing it professionally. So yeah, it was really cool. I mean, you hear a lot about '92 and '93, and because they won it all those years, I think people will still hold them in a slightly different regard from 2025. But to get a bit of a taste of the magic that's involved in a run like that was very cool for me. I'm sure for you and all of the rest of us too, who didn't totally get to see those early '90s teams.
See, and also too, it was actually like see, kind of like not to sort of go in history or anything, but I think that was actually around the time that Dan, your dad, actually started out in broadcasting.
Yeah, he wouldn't have actually been doing play-by-play 92,
No, but in
93.
broadcasting in general, in like in the
Yeah,
sports.
yeah, it would have been
Yeah,
just a little bit before that. I mean, late '80s, early '90s is kind of when he got going.
yeah. But it's really like honestly though, it's really something that when you like when see and that and you saw the fans are having fun when that winning product is there on the field. That is what creates that environment as well, and the Varlins and everything else, and kind of as that contributor, they are, and they certainly are a for the most part a young team, and I feel that man that certainly makes a difference, and they've got some actually come up and coming in the Bison's organization as well coming up, and also a big one that we forgot. I almost forgot to mention is Trey Savage.
Yeah, yeah. I just think in general, a lot of exciting parts of that team. I think a little bit of different stuff for everyone. A lot to latch onto if you wanted veteran guys like Scherzers and Gosmans and Springers, or younger guys like Savage and other up and come Pargers and other up and comers. Just a lot to like and enjoy, I think. And even long before they made the World Series, they were probably as popular as any Blue Jay team I can remember, just because I think they're just a likable group of players and people, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. Miles Straw was a contributor. There is a name that kind of escapes me that I don't know why. I mean, it shouldn't, but he was performing very well towards the end of the season. I think in September, and then he was sent down.
Joey Loperfido,
Loper,
potentially.
yeah, that's it. That's it. He
Yeah, but
also
yeah, I
was.
mean, they had
Go ahead.
too many guys, frankly. They had about 29 guys that were playing well by the end of the year and only 26 spots for them.
I think that was it. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Loperfido. Yep. I mean, he certainly performed well as well. Like, I mean,
Very well, yeah.
yeah,
I thought they had picked him up at the deadline in 2024 when they traded Yusei Kikuchi away, and he got a lot of time right after that, and there were some ups and downs, but it was kind of a whirlwind season for Joey when they acquired him in 2024. He had just made the majors for the first time with Houston. And in the middle of that season, got traded from a really good team to frankly a really not that great team in a different country, and was still trying to figure out how to become a major leaguer. I think this past season he really took some huge jumps, especially in terms of making contact and swinging and missing less, and was really really impressive for them when they called upon him in the majors this year. So to me, he's a guy who's clearly a major league player at this point and talented enough. And I guess the question is just, do the Blue Jays have the opportunity and the playing time to give him, because they have so many really good players, and especially in the outfield, so many different guys that they could put out there. That just where do they find time for everyone, including Joey?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's um, that's a big thing as well because um, um, and then of course then Yusavich was brought up in September, um, and then he contributed and he pitched in the playoffs, and like I mean, and he was brought in from Double A. That was the interesting sort of factor as well.
He was awesome, Trey. He was just incredible. I mean, like nothing I've ever really seen before, to get brought up from the minors to a team in the middle of the divisional race, and you're debuting and making huge starts. I mean, starts that mattered in terms of clinching the playoffs and clinching the division, and then big starts in the postseason as well. Game one of the World Series, really, really remarkable. So a huge credit to him. I think there are very few people that would have been able to pull off what he pulled off just emotionally, let alone how much talent he has in his right arm. So it's really cool, I think, and excited to keep watching him for you'd hope at least 6 more years with the Blue Jays, and I think Blue Jays fans can hopefully look forward to a lot more Trey Savage, because he should be with the team opening day coming up next year, and I think the minor leagues are going to be not a regular stop for him anymore at this point. It seems like he's a major league player to stay.
There's a lot of major, like there's a lot certainly, but I mean, and certainly, I think even around the league, it's going to be a fun. I think it's going to be a fun sort of. I mean, even around the Major League Baseball, I think it's going to be fun to see what everybody does. But through and through, I'm of course, or we are, we of course cover the Blue Jays, and we certainly are looking forward to their sort of stance as well. Now, I'm curious. Do you like to check in, like when you have some time, on how, like, just for fun, if sometime on a given night, maybe watch another team just to see how they're doing once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I'm in the throes of the regular season, a lot of the time, if I come back from a Jays game, even if it's later at night, I'm not quite ready to go to sleep yet, just because I've been at the game. So I watch a lot of the West Coast games. I end up watching a fair bit, especially the American League West Coast teams, because we'll end up seeing them a couple of times. So the Athletics, the Angels, teams that are out there that might be playing a little bit later, catch the end of a Houston or a Texas game, or Seattle game potentially as well. But also generally for preparation, I'm going to be watching other teams. So, if the Blue Jays are playing pick any team you'd like next. If they're playing the Cubs, then I might get home from the Jays game, go and throw on, a replay of the Cubs game from that day to check in on them, get a feel for them. And in general, I'm just a fan. So of baseball. So I'll probably, even if I don't have work to do, end up throwing on a game anyway. So yeah, I probably end up between Jays games and other games, watch 2 to 3 games a day during the summer a lot of the time. Sometimes I'm doing other stuff while I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm making food or doing laundry. But if I have a free moment during the summer and there's a baseball game on, more than likely I'm going to have a game on my TV at some point.
Okay, so it's not just me then.
Yes, no, I'm with you. I'm doing it all day.
But you know what's fun? Like I find myself even the audio, right? I find myself like at night. Of course, as you know, with the content I put on, I like to read. I like to read a lot.
Mhm.
And I have but at night, oftentimes what I'll do is on the iPad, I'll just I'll set the sleep timer, and I'll fall asleep listening to the game.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've been there many times. Yeah, no, it's very relaxing, I will say, especially you get like a late night John Miller San Francisco broadcast or something like that. I mean, that's I could easily use that as both great to listen to, but not the worst too to be a student thing to fall asleep to also.
Oh yeah, it's like yeah, I enjoy yes I do, like there are, and I like there are a lot of excellent broadcasters throughout the the league, and
Oh yeah.
I'd love to share some of my favorites with you here.
Please do. Yeah, I there are so many. I mean, I like honestly, I really think if there's 60 regular guys, I really think not only are all of them great, but there's probably, there's hundreds of fantastic guys. So I'm very interested to hear who your favorites are.
Okay, so I like the Cubs broadcasters.
For sure. Yeah. Listen
Um,
to some Ron and Pat.
yeah, um, I like I do like I like the Yankees broadcasts.
Okay, yeah, definitely. This season with Dave you're talking about or in general?
I in general,
Yeah, Dave, John, both fantastic.
and Susan Waldman's still around there.
Susan Waldman, also, thank you for making sure we mention her. Also fantastic.
There we go. Um, and the Giants broadcasters.
Pretty much anyone the Giants put out there, if not literally everyone, all great. From John to Dwayne and Dave, and like just a
Oh, the
huge
Mets too.
Joe Kruko. Yeah, Mets, another fantastic booth. Both TV and radio, both really good.
Although I
Um,
think their main radio guy, I can't even his name again escapes me, but I think he's close to
you talking
retiring.
Howie Rose?
Yeah, Howie Rose.
Oh yeah, no, Howie is he is about as good as it gets. I really like probably is as good as it gets. Honestly, it's he's on the Mount Rushmore right now. I think of major league broadcasters, radio or television.
Did I mention the Red Sox? If I didn't, then I like their
Oh
crew too.
yeah, great crew and hard to keep the standard when a guy like Joe Castiglione ends up retiring. But they have, Will is fantastic. And I know Lou Merlone does a lot more TV for them now, but I love him on the radio too. And Mike Monaco or Cooper Boardman, a friend of mine from university, does games for them too. They have a great group. I mean, we're spoiled in the AL East, I think. Whenever we get a crew come to us in Toronto, it's an awesome group of guys, both as people, but people but also broadcasters to pick their brains. I mean, just a great, I think, great bunch of broadcasters that we have in the division.
Yes. Now I just mentioned the Yankees and the Red Sox that I listen in on them as well, but I am going to mention here that I am a really big Jays fan. Well, you
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, but you can still appreciate the play by play
Oh
from
yeah.
other markets. I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
that's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you knew that.
Yeah. It's and I kind of like for players, it's a job. I mean, for many of these broadcasters, very few I think are fortunate enough that they end up calling, games for the team that they grew up following. So I wouldn't hold, if you don't like a team, I wouldn't hold that. Not you specifically, but in general, if a person doesn't like a team, I wouldn't hold that against their broadcaster specifically
Oh no,
because
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
he's paying for rent and making sure that he's got some food and meals on his table too, or she is making sure that they have meals on their table as well.
The
So,
broadcasters?
yeah, great, really like great group of broadcasters in Major League Baseball.
Hey, the
So many
Orioles
good
too.
ones. Yeah, yeah. Cool to hear some of your favorites because, yeah, people are ever, Jay's off day. I would tell people like surf around. There are plenty of just great voices. You'll like listening to the people, even if you don't care about the team. Sometimes I think there's some people that are just so great doing it right
Yeah, and the Orioles as well.
now. 100%, 100%. They have like a whole group of people, that do it on the radio and to a T for all of them. Like
Yeah, I'm not sure
really,
who's doing
really
the radio
great.
broadcast now.
Pardon?
I'm not sure who's doing the radio broadcast now.
It's a mix. Ben Wagner, who you would know well, is a part of their coverage and continuing to be, just awesome and fantastic on their radio call as well. Jeff Arnold doing a great job for them on the radio. Melanie Newman calling stuff for them on the radio,
I haven't heard
more
Ben Wagner do the play-by-play for the Orioles side, actually.
You have not heard Melanie?
Sorry, Ben Wagner.
Oh, he's on there. Oh yeah, he's doing a good handful of games for them as well. And I should mention like Brett Hollander doing some radio for them too. No, they got a great group. Really, really, really solid group. They're the whole division. It's great. Neil and Andy in Tampa Bay also really, really fantastic.
Yeah,
So.
and the Braves. I like the Braves broadcast too.
Sure. 100% could go for some Braves. But yeah, I wish if I wasn't doing games that were conflicting with other games, I'd be listening even more. But I try my best to listen to as much as I can and learn from as many people as possible.
So how would you find then that you listened now you mentioned you do like to watch the games on TV as well, but when you have a chance to listen to the audio side, how do you like to listen on the Sportsnet app or the MLB app? How do you like to listen to the audio side if you're just maybe driving around or whatever?
Yeah, so if it's a game that's on the Sportsnet app, I'll probably end up listening there just because that's the app that I'm on so often to do other stuff, like just kind of my general sports app probably. So it would be going on there if I could, but Sportsnet doesn't have the rights. It's only on Sportsnet app if it's on Sportsnet's airwaves on 590 or 650 or wherever.
Yeah.
So if not, then yeah, I would likely be at MLB or maybe occasionally like tune in if I was having some issue with it. I'm also a Sirius XM subscriber.
Oh, me too. So, I love that. I like that service.
Oh, XM, yeah, 100%. No, it's very much helpful to me. So probably it would end up being Sportsnet would be where I check first, then probably MLB. But if I'm in the car, then I just throw it on Sirius or on my phone. I can throw it on Sirius also if I want to get feeds of whatever game I might be trying to tune into.
Yeah, they've made it easy to get to listen to the games.
Yeah, no, it's great, really great.
But and I do also, the Sportsnet crew. I like, they've got, like the I do like to, the Sportsnet crew. I like to go in there as well. I mean, they do have certainly their Sportsnet Plus package as well for those that are interested in that. But one can just browse it though without, like, if they don't have Plus, they can still use it to keep up with things.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely. The app and website are still going to provide you with stories and scores and box scores and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think you can create an account to even just keep the preferences synchronized, but
I believe that you are right.
Yeah, I don't know if it would prompt to sign up for Plus, but I haven't tried it.
Not sure. I'm not sure myself.
Oh, maybe it's something I'll check out sometime.
Yeah, do a little investigative work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but overall, it was just remarkable, and I think the season, but I think too. But and I understand now. Are you one of those that you cover the Jays and you cover baseball? You cover baseball. You cover. Do you find when during the off season? do you find yourself kind of not paying attention to the other sports like the NHL, or do you find or are you a casual sort of fan of the NHL just to kind of see what everybody's doing?
I would say I'm a casual fan of the other sports. Just being growing up being a fan of watching the NHL or NBA or NHL, and I do a little basketball work, so some of the NBA watching is at least work related. But um, yeah, I end up being a casual fan. Probably when I was a kid, I would watch even more. The baseball season would end, and I was watching the Jays almost every day as a fan, and then I would be just as locked in to the three seasons coming up in the fall. Uh, these days, I'm probably not as locked in. I generally have a good idea about who is on the Leafs. Do I know who's on the Minnesota Wild's third line right now? I don't, to be honest. And I probably used to. But at this point, unless Spurgeon or whoever is on that third line a couple of years ago is still there, I don't really know anymore. So I have a little less time probably for casual sports viewing because I'm literally involved in every Jays game now. But I still do watch it because I still love sitting down and watching a football game or watching a hockey game or watching the soccer or NBA game as well.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like I think it's kind of hard in some capacities. Like if one because you follow you cover the Jays every day during the season, and then somebody says, "Oh, during the offseason, you don't keep up with the Leafs in the NHL." Well, I understand that.
Yeah. There's only so much. I understand sometimes. I think I run into people or talk sports with them, and they'll think, because I'm so intimately locked in with the Jays that I might know a lot about the NHL too, or what's going on with the Leafs. But it's definitely more the opposite. I would say that these days I am more casual with a lot of other stuff, and should work opportunities present themselves in those places, then I would get a lot more, invested again. But for right now, you only have so much bandwidth, and the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, of course. So the less time I have for casual sports viewing, but I try to work in sometime because I have to remember that I still I enjoy this, and that's why I'm doing it because I am a fan of all these sports at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, but it is very I mean, the reality of it all is one can't keep up with everything. That's a reality of it.
For sure. Yeah, it's almost, you get fooled, I think, these days by the fact that because the internet is there, you can pretend keep track of a million things at once. Like I can quote unquote follow a bunch of teams by reading one article on them each day or, following the box scores, but I can't watch every Leaf game, every Raptor game, every Green Bay Packer game, and every Jays game. It's just not. It wouldn't be healthy for me to do so, probably.
No,
So,
no.
I do what I can, and obviously, I watch every Jays game, and then outside of that, I kind of stick with what's uh, enjoyable for me and what's easiest. And I know for someone in the same line of work like my dad, he's following more football now than he ever has because it's easier to follow. There's only one game a week you have to worry about. So I think he said, you know what, I have time for this more than other stuff, and maybe I'll trend in that direction too. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, but he's kind of a fan of all the sports too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Definitely like a big Maple Leaf fan, a big Raptor fan. I just think at this point, kind of like me, but probably even more so for him, doesn't necessarily have the bandwidth to tune into every single Leaf game or every single Raptor game and get super locked in. It's more kind of a casual, if it works out timing wise, kind of viewing than appointment viewing necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like I like to kind of I like to listen to even NHL games. I like to listen to as many as I can. But so
100%.
yeah, I like to listen. I like to see how everybody's doing. I like to see how. So how would you say then you get ready for a broadcast for a Jays broadcast?
Couple of ways. I mean, baseball is a little different than the other sports because it's every day. Um, not as regimented, I would say. When I get ready for a basketball game, I do a very similar thing every time. Baseball, you're collecting information each day, and you might talk to a guy about something on Tuesday. You might not end up using that information until Friday. But generally, the three main things that I do to get ready for baseball games, maybe four. Um, Number one is talk to players and coaches and people around there. And that comes down to showing up 4 or 5 hours before the game. We get some time in the clubhouse, some time on the field, some time in the manager's office, and trying to get information, get stories, confirm information, and continue to build relationships. So that's a big way, I think, to get ready for a game, is talking to people, players, and staff. The second would just be independent research. I spend a lot of time, I had mentioned earlier, I might come home, throw on an Angels game or whatever. While I'm doing that, I'm reading articles that are written about the Blue Jays, or a lot of the time, especially written about the teams they're facing, to try to get more immersed with those teams so I can be an expert or as close to that as possible for Blue Jay fans who might not necessarily know what's up at the opposing team. So a lot of independent research, article reading. It's mostly based on articles, a little bit of statistical research, but I try not to do too much. So number one, talking to people. Number two, independent research. Number three, watching games, just watching the teams that I want to learn more about, whether that's teams the Jays are playing, or sometimes it's going back and watching Blue Jays games again. Not a full game, but stretches of games probably to go over something or get a better understanding of how something went down. And then the fourth and final, which doesn't happen every day or every game, but that would be going back over my work, which is the only thing outside of like game research that I would do, just to see if there's stuff I want to improve upon, things I liked or didn't like from previous broadcasts. So the four things would be talking to people, independent research at home, reading articles, watching games, and then listening back to my own work. Those are the main things I do, but it can change a little bit day to day.
Yeah. Okay. So then, but then, what would be the best way, sort of, to keep track of everything? I mean, there's only so much that can be kept track in, like that you can only. There's only so much that one can remember. So how do you keep track of it all?
For sure, I have running notes about each series I do each year, and I'm not going to put all the information that I find in there, but what I'm going to do for each player probably is pick out the most important things, because like you said, you can't write everything down and you can't remember everything. But I have notes with likely keywords or key sentences that are going to remind me of stories about each player. I might have links embedded in those notes just in case I wanted specific information. If I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the Yankees and his charity, back at home in the Bahamas, well, I might want, I'll have the link to the article there because I want to give him the credit of how many toys were donated to kids there, and et cetera. But so I'm going to have notes on each team. It also is great because most of the stories or research I do doesn't end up in a broadcast, because you just never know what's going to happen. You might not end up talking about a certain player or a certain thing as much as you thought you might. So I can take those notes that I had on the Yankees in April, and some of it's going to be applicable when I'm doing the Yankees in June, and I haven't told that story yet, and it's still an interesting story, I think, or something that the listener might want to know about this player. So I have running notes. It's not everything I know, but it's kind of the important stuff to remember, because like you said, there's so much, and really it's a big change when you go from the minor leagues to the major leagues, because in the minor leagues there's very little information, and your job is to get almost all information on players. In the major leagues, there is too much information, almost, frankly, and I get 25 emails, it feels like, of information each day, and my job is to then go through that along with my own research, to go through that and pick out what is actually valuable, in my opinion, or what I can use, what's valuable to a broadcast more likely, and what can I use to help out this broadcast. So it's a bit of a process, and definitely something I'm still refining as I continue to call major league games.
Well, that's pretty good there. That's a very interesting sort of light there. So you can be found. You can be found. Your work can be found at Ben Shulman 7 on X. Are you on Blue Sky yet?
I am not. No, I probably should check it out. I'm not a huge social media user, but you will. That X is probably the best spot because most of the time before big games or after games, that's where I'm going to be putting highlights or links to listen to us or that kind of information. So that would be the best place if you were trying to find our broadcast. Maybe you don't have a real terrestrial radio anymore and you want to listen to, the audio of it on your phone or computer. That X is going to be the best spot to do it.
Yeah, I don't have a terrestrial radio anymore.
Which I don't blame you. I know a lot of people outside of their cars don't, but it's so great starting last year, I want to say it was, that we got the streaming rights now in terms of, having it on the app or having it at sportsnet.ca. So it's two taps or two clicks away now, essentially, from anyone. No terrestrial radio required. So that's nice.
Yeah, one just needs the internet.
Yes.
Which is, and even for those that, and even for those of us that don't drive, just want an easy way to listen to the audio.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's a different feel too, a kind of different style of broadcast. So definitely encourage people if they have not checked it out. It do not need to be in the car by any means. If you want to throw us on, sync us up or just listen to us. I know a lot of people too, like to throw something on when they're doing some work or, housework and stuff like that. And myself included. So, that's the time I think that a lot of people might tune in and would encourage them to do it. We're not picky. Tune in to us anytime.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because, see, you mentioned doing all the work in the background. See, I tend to do that too sometimes, but then what I often remember is that then, see, I've got one thing going in one ear, right, and the other thing going in the other ear. It's like, what am I paying attention to? So nowadays, what I sometimes tend to do is just stop what I'm doing and listen to the game.
Right. Hey, in my world, there's nothing more important than the game. So I
exactly
understand that impulse. I get that for sure.
No, exactly. Well, Ben, I really hope that that we can do this again in the future.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Glad to hop on with you again.
Yeah, and we'll be back here. Well, there's no shortage of content coming up. So, but this show will be back actually a week from today when we'll be talking on the 30th, when we'll be talking some Leafs and NHL with Claude Fay. So stick around for that.
Very nice.